than it is if you're, making 250 large. But I give them credit for not taking the low road and speaking out, because Paul Kruger and Trayvon Williams did not do that yesterday, and I think we're starting to hear about it.
Good for them, and I'm glad you brought that up, Matt. Trayvon Williams and Paul Kruger, and this isn't the first time they've spouted off a bit, talking about, essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, that the players need to be able to make plays, essentially meaning let them do what they're good at. Like, why is Armonte Bryant covering wide receivers? Why are defensive linemen covering wide receivers? Why is Paul Kruger? We've mentioned this before on the show, Matt. And why, after seeing that it doesn't work week after week, after giving up 30 points after 30 points to opposition, why is that not clicked to Jim O'Neill? Or maybe it's even more damning to Mike Pettin for not stepping in. Like, he's a defensive guru? What? How?
He's not a guru. And let's kill that noise right now.
That's what we were sold.
I've got a pretty good idea that when Eric Mangini was the quote-unquote defensive guru for Bill Belichick, that when it hit the fan and the Patriots were stinking out the joint on defense, Bill took over the defense.
Yeah.
And he let Eric have the title, but when it got sticky in game time, Bill was the one who was running the show.
Right.
Rex Ryan really trusted Mike Pettin to be the defensive coordinator, but when it hit the fan, I guarantee you, Rex grabbed the play sheet and said, "Move out of here, young son. Let me go to work, because it's my you-know-what on the line."
Yeah.
And I truthfully 100% believe that, and that's why you have to be careful when you hire coordinators who are going to be first-time head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
You might get sold a bill of goods in an interview, and they may be able to talk their way, right into a contract. But you have to look at the body of work and say, when it hit the fan, did this guy make the decisions, or was this guy just there holding a sheet for his buddy?
Right. And that is such a perfect way to put that. Because let's face it, you have Wade Phillips, one of the best coordinators ever when it comes to on the defensive side of the ball. Terrible head coach. Romeo Crennel, now struggling with Houston, but all in all, a very good, a very effective defensive coordinator. Had 2 shots at a head coach. Couldn't cut it. It doesn't always work out. That doesn't mean they're bad people. That doesn't mean we don't like them. It just means sometimes it doesn't work out. And that's what the Browns have been doing.
Certain people are just meant to be vice president.
Exactly. And that's fine, Matt. Not everybody can be president. Not everybody can be a head coach. You need those guys. You need people who know their roles. But that's why for the next Browns head coach, and believe me, folks, here on the Doghouse, presented by SportsInteraction.com, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns, we will get into head coaching candidates. We will get into GM candidates. And there's at 2-8, we got nothing but time when it comes to marching out this death march for the rest of the season. So we'll get into that in spades. But right now, Matt, let's get back to the game a little bit here and put a bow on it. I'm going to get to one positive, and that was the progression of Johnny Manziel. Now, you look at the stats overall, and I like looking at the stats and using them in context. The completion percentage spiked way up for John Football, 33 for 45. The yardage, 372, a garbage time. I'm not putting too much into that necessarily. A touchdown, an interception. He fumbled once, sacked 6 times, and the interception came on a 4th down desperation try, so you kind of excuse that. But the progression, what'd they ask of Johnny Manziel, Matt? What'd they ask? They said, stay in the pocket more, make plays. What'd he do? He did that. If Mike Pettin goes back to Josh McCown outside of injury to Jonathan Manziel, then I don't know what he is doing at all in that building, and Jimmy Haslam should fire him instantly. They said they had a long chat. Mike Pettin said him and Jimmy had a long chat. Maybe part of that was play Johnny. He's doing what you're telling him to do now. He's showing some progression. Is he a franchise quarterback? Anybody who says they know one way or the other does not know, because we haven't seen enough of it. But, Matt, the kid is trying, and he's showing some improvement at this point, after this game especially. Roll with the guy the rest of the way. Who cares?
Well, the thing is, too, is he's smart enough to know that he's auditioning for another job.
Oh, sure.
Whether it be the starter as the Browns or with the Browns under a new coach or with another team, Johnny Manziel is auditioning for his NFL life right now.
Sure.
And he's not going to get another shot to do that as good as the one he has now and you almost have to run with him just to see what the kid's got. Is he a franchise quarterback? I don't know. I don't know what a franchise quarterback looks like anymore. I live in Cleveland, for God's sake. I know I have to watch other cities play for me to know what a franchise quarterback is.
Yeah.
And you know what? Two of the best to ever do it, Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers, are quite frankly sticking out the joint right now.
Right.
So even franchise quarterbacks struggle.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of having the guy that's going to win you every game. You know, there aren't too many Tom Brady's of the world, you know. There's only a finite amount of them. And unfortunately for the Browns, they haven't found a single one of them since 1999.
Nope.
The key is, though, you have to find out what you have in the kid. If you're willing to stick it out, or if you're willing, or if you're going to be willing to cash in your chips and push them to the center of the table and go all in on somebody else and completely hit the restart button again. The problem stems from the fact that we have too many first-time guys doing the job, like we said earlier.
Exactly.
And the one guy with experience in the position that he had before he came to Cleveland was Kyle Shanahan, and you let him walk out the door because your head coach wasn't smart enough or gutsy enough to say, hey, this is my team. You need to stop sending me text messages, and you need to stop watching film. You get me players, and you go make money for the owner and stay out of my hair. You know, that's where Mike Pettin really did himself a disservice. If he wanted to get a reputation as being a hard-ass coach like his father was at the high school level or like some of the legends were in the NFL, he needed to lay the hammer down and say, you let the coaches coach, and I don't want to hear anything from anybody about it unless you're the guy cutting the check.
Yeah, it's too late now.
I mean, really, you can succeed if you're a first-time head coach if you have experienced coordinators around you. The Browns don't have any experience in any one of the coaching realms, and quite frankly, the locker room doesn't respect them. And Paul Kruger and Trayvon Williams, without saying as much, made that perfectly clear in their comments to the media yesterday that they don't know what the hell is going on, and that coaches need to put players in better positions to make plays. That lends itself to the fact that this coaching staff has zero respect with the players in the locker room, and they're not going to play for them.
No.
They're playing for themselves. They're playing for their next contract. They're worried about making money. And that's it.
And they're worried about not getting hurt. Like Matt, with 6 weeks to go, watch the hamstring pulls and the shoulder tweaks and everything go up, because nobody wants to hurt themselves going into a contract year or to hurt their status going forward. That's just going to keep climbing. I think a good faith move for this team to the players if they want actually to compete. And, hey, you know what? If Jimmy's resigned himself, hey, screw it. We're going for the number one pick, then leave Jim O'Neill in place. But if you want a goodwill gesture, you fire Jim O'Neill. Mike Pettin huddles the defense together and says, guys, hey, we tried it. Didn't work. Let's man up, and let's put people in positions to succeed and try that the rest of the way. But really, it's a whole bunch of dead men marching right now. It's just a whole bunch of absolutely nothing going on because they've come out. Like, Jim O'Neill got punked by his players. The locker room is gone, Matt. And Matt, on offense, I like DiFilippo, or at least I did. The Wildcat again? The Wildcat has been dead for how many years? And then you line up wrong and get penalized by it. Like, this is just bananas on both sides of the ball. Now, at least DiFilippo, at first you thought, okay, hey, maybe there's a bright spot. Now he's rolling out the Wildcat.
It has all the makings, to me, of players' revolt, and they're just disguising it in terms of penalties and missed assignments. Good players, and the Browns don't have a huge amount of all-star caliber players, but they do have enough talent to be successful.
Yeah.
At least get close to competitive to getting to that 500 mark. I just look at this and say that the players have quit on the team.
Sure.
They have quit on their coaches. And really, they're out there just trying to get stats, and they're trying to bump up their next paycheck. The coaches are trying to do their alleged best, and the players are trying to just get through the end of this season and move on from there. And this team is already in trouble in free agency because their biggest playmakers are going to be on the market, and Trader Ray. Right player, right price. He's not going to be paying Gary Barnidge.
Oh, he ain't going
to
be here, Matt.
Benjamin. So you're going to be starting all over from scratch. You're going to have an expansion team. Essentially, that's exactly what you have.
No.
And talking to a reporter friend of mine who I respect very much, this team would struggle to beat the 99 expansion team.
Wow.
That's how bad it has gotten. That's what people honestly think of this team, and you almost have to hit the complete restart button and just say, enough. Okay, what we've been doing for 16 years, and I don't want to hear this crap from Shiner, from Haslam, from Farmer, whatever, that we haven't been doing, this for 16 years. We've only been doing this for, 10 or 5 in some cases or less. Most of it's less. I don't want to hear it anymore because your team has been doing it. This is your team. Make no mistake about it. You bought this team with the history included. I know they're trying their best to eliminate the history of this club before 2012 in October, but granted, it's there. Okay, you're losing season ticket holders over it because you had one 7-9 season and you raised it 30% on people. You give them a crap sandwich to eat, they're going to keep going away, and you're just driving yourself into a deeper hole.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really where we're at. And one last point on this game, we'll put a awful bow on it. Again, we talked about it Friday's show, Matt. Leading up to it, you can't have your quarterback as your leading rusher. What do we have? Johnny Manziel as the leading rusher, and the leading rusher had 17 yards. Isaiah Crowell, Matt, from me and you sitting on our butts on Sunday, we had more rushing yards than Isaiah Crowell. 6 carries, -5 yards. Wow. Duke Johnson, non-factor rushing, 4 catches receiving, but not doing very much there either. The rushing game is a joke, and Isaiah Crowell, the Crow, love the nickname. I'm not sure who to blame, O-line, him, scheme, whatever, but he's clearly not getting it done.
Yeah, something's not going right with the Crow. He ain't flying straight right now, and this team is flying south quick, fast, and in a hurry. They sense the cold weather coming, and they're zooming toward the end of the finish line.
Yeah, it's really ugly. Matt, let's get to our sportsinteraction.com bets of the week. We'll go with the Monday Nighter here, and we'll there we go. Gotta love the Shane O'Mac. Sportsinteraction.com /Browns, our fine sponsor. You get them, sportsinteraction.com /Browns. They will match up to $200 of your first deposit. And you can bet on, it doesn't have to be just football. It can be hockey, MMA, basketball, whatever you want. They will take care of you there, sportsinteraction.com /Browns. So let's do another AFC North battle. Cincinnati Bengals looking to remain undefeated like the Carolina Panthers, like the New England Patriots, against the Houston Texans. Texans into Cincinnati. Now, Matt, what's very interesting in this game to me, Bengals favored by 10.5. That's a lot of points. But who's the quarterback of the Texans? It's Brian Hoyer. No one's shivering in their boots for Brian Hoyer. However, the last time Brian Hoyer was in Cincinnati, he embarrassed the Bengals on national television as a member of these Cleveland Browns. That's the only interesting little tweak in this game that I think maybe Hoyer can find some of that magic for the Texans. That 10.5 point spread, the Bengals are good, but that's a bit steep for me.
It is, and I think they'll win probably between the 7 and 10 point range. I don't know that they cover. It's just going to be that's a tall task for anybody to cover that many points. And with the playmakers that Hoyer does have, and they are very few, but even though he only has a couple, he's been able to find them, and people haven't been able to stop him. So I think he'll be able to put up points. Do I think he'll win? No, but he'll at least make it closer than the spread. Yeah,
I'll say cover the 10.5 as well. If you take Houston to win outright, pays $5.50, $5.50. Bengals $1.17. So if you're feeling a little froggy, you can go $5.50 on the Texans. The Thursday nighter. Oh, boy, this is if you've done something wrong and somebody wants to punish you. You watch this Thursday night game. Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. My God, Matt. All right, it's 2.5. It's essentially a pick 'em. Jacksonville, the favorite. $2.20 pays out if you pick Tennessee to win outright. $1.71 for the Jags. I personally would stay away from this one, but if you had to pick somebody, who are you taking?
Well, I mean, if you're picking on this game, you might want to call it. You might want to call somebody and get some help. But personally, I'll take Jacksonville. It's an ugly game. I mean, let's just face it; it's going to be ugly. But they are coming in off of a win. They beat Baltimore on the road on the last-second field goal, so I'll give the love to them.
Yeah, and Jacksonville has looked a bit better with Blake Bortles, and they've been progressing over.